Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, would you please call the roll?
Senators Aguilar, Baumgardner, Cook, Coram, Court, Crowder, Donovan, Finberg, Fields, Garcia, Gardner, Guzman, Hill, Holbert, John, Jones, Kagan, Kafalis, Kerr, Lambert, Lumberg, Marble, Martinez-Jimenez.
Excused.
Merrifield, Moreno, Neville, Priola, Scott, Smallwood, Sonnenberg,
Excused.
Tate, Todd, Williams, Zinzinger. Mr. President.
Here. Morning roll call. It's 33 present, 0 absent, 2 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Gardner, would you please come and lead us in the pledge?
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Smallwood. Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the Journal of Monday, January 30th, 2017 be dispensed with and that the Journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Reports to the Committee of Reference.
January 30th, 2017, Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 17 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation and with a recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar.
Senate Services.
Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 1, 8, 16, 24, 25, 31, 34, 43, 48, and 58. Senate Joint Resolution 7, correctly re-engrossed. Senate Bill 13, 18, 20, and 46, correctly revised. House Bill 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, and 1012, correctly enrolled. Senate Joint Resolution 2.
Message from the House.
The House has adopted and returns herewith Senate Joint Resolution 7.
Third reading of bills consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the titles to all the bills on the consent calendar?
Senate Bill 24 by Senator Fields and Representative Young concerning the hearsay exception for persons with an intellectual and developmental disability where the defendant is charged with a crime against an at-risk person. Senate Bill 58 by Senator Baumgardner and Representative Singer concerning the authority of certain individuals to purchase alcohol beverages for a premises license to sell alcohol beverages for consumption on the licensed premises.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move both of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar consisting of Senate Bill 24 and Senate Bill 58.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills? The motion is for the adoption of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the bills on the consent calendar? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, Senate Bill 24 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Kafalis, Senator Guzman, Senator Fields, Senator Jones, Senator Moreno, Senator Aguilar, Senator Williams, Senator Todd, Senator Fenberg, Senator Hill, Senator Crowder, Senator Gardner, Senator Cook, Senator Merrifield, Senator John, Senator Marble, Senator Priola, Senator Scott, Senator Kerr, Senator Baumgardner. Please add the president. With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, Senate Bill 58 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Holbert, Senator Marble, Senator Neville, Senator Priola, Senator Smallwood, Senator Crowder, Senator Jones, Senator Fields, anyone else? Anyone? Senator Scott, Senator Kerr, Senator Todd, Senator Williams, Senator Moreno. Please add the president. Third reading of bills. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the third reading of bills calendar lay over until February 1st, consisting of Senate Bills 31, 34, 48, 43, 8, 25, 1, and 16.
Motion for the body is, before the body is to lay over the third reading of bills calendar till February 1st. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Those will be laid over till February 1st. Please add Senator Martinez-Humenick to the roll. Second reading of bills consent calendar. Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the purposes of General Order second reading of bills consent calendar.
Motion before the body is to resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Order second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the General Order second reading of bills consent calendar. Senator Hill will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. The coat rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read all the titles to the bills on General Order second reading of bills consent calendar?
Senate Bill 30 by Senator Baumgardner and Representative Esgar concerning the exemption from the schedules of controlled substances any anabolic steroid that is administered through injection in a non-human species. Senate Bill 52 by Senator Kerr and Representative Thurlow concerning recommendations related to Title 22 from the Department of Education to the Statutory Revision Committee.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move both of the bills on the General Order second reading of bills consent calendar, consisting of Senate Bill 30 and Senate Bill 52.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I noticed that Senate Bill 30 does have a committee report. I also move the committee report from Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy to Senate Bill 30.
Colleagues, you've heard the motion. Is there any discussion on any of the committee reports? Take a vote on this. The motion before the body is the adoption of all the reports to all the bills on general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee reports are adopted. The motion before the body is all of the bills on consent calendar. Is there any discussion to any of the bills on consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of both of the bills on consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills are adopted. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is passed. The committee will rise and report.
Senate will come to order. Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee has had two bills under consideration. I move the adoption of the report. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 30 as amended, Senate Bill 52 passed in second reading in order and engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Motion is for the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, with a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 30 is amended. Senate Bill 52 passed on second reading in order to engross and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General orders, second reading of bills. Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in a committee of the whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills calendar.
Motion before the body is to resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the general orders, second reading of bills calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Hill will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the coat rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 60?
Senate Bill 60 by Senator Todd and Representative Wilson concerning relocation of the Colorado Student Leaders Institute from the Office of the Lieutenant Governor to the Department of Higher Education.
Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, colleagues. I move Senate Bill 60 and the Education Committee report.
Thank you, Senator Todd. To the committee report.
The committee report basically is moving a program that was passed a couple of years ago in 2015, the COSLI, Colorado Student Leaders Institute bill, from the Lieutenant Governor's office to the Department of Higher Education. And that is what the amendment is about. Committee report is about.
Is there any further discussion to the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Education Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this bill is simply a technical bill relocating the administration of the Colorado Student Leaders Institute that was created by 2015 Bill 290 from the Lieutenant Governor's office to the Department of Higher Education. And the reason for doing that is because of the restructuring of who our Lieutenant Governor is and that shared position of
the chair of higher ed and lieutenant governor is no longer that same position. So as a result of that, moving it to the Department of Education or the Department of Higher Education is a more logical place for it to be housed.
Colleagues, is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 60? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 60. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 60 is passed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 65?
Senate Bill 65 by Senator Lundberg, concerning a requirement that healthcare providers disclose the charges they impose for common healthcare services when payment is made directly rather than by a third party.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the request of the sponsor, I move to lay over Senate Bill 65 to Friday, February 3rd.
Colleagues, Senate Bill 65.
Human Services Committee report.
Senator Lambert, to the report, please.
The Health and Human Services Committee report added the Colorado Department of Transportation to the bill as a participant in a technical demonstration. I ask for aye vote.
Colleagues, is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Health and Human Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this passed unanimously out of Health and Human Services, but I wanted just a couple minutes to explain what we're doing on the floor. I've been working with Department of Labor and Employment and several other departments to get a demonstration of how the technologies that are being used by ride-sharing services like Lyft and Uber can be integrated into handicapped access vehicles in the state. This is designed to get basically all the participants at the table, the government, the ride-sharing companies, the handicapped individuals with various kinds of handicaps. The technologies in these areas are just moving very, very quickly. Even some of the vehicles that are now being used, if you get out your cell phone and go into settings, you'll find that each individual can tailor their ride-sharing experience by identifying themselves with certain kinds. If they have a certain handicap, that can be identified, and when you get a shared ride, they can take that into account when they dispatch a vehicle. I think the technologies in the future are going to go far, far beyond that. As a matter of fact, Department of Transportation wanted to be part of this discussion because some of the research that they're doing in autonomous vehicles, which could be used in the future, not too distant future, for helping people with handicapped access problems as well. The idea here is to get all the stakeholders to get together for a series of meetings, and then the Department of Labor and Employment will collect all those ideas and requirements together, bring them back to the legislature, and hopefully next year suggest maybe some pilot projects to move this technology into the future. So if you have any questions about that, please see me afterward. I'd appreciate your support on Senate Bill 11. I think this is really trying to apply existing resources in a wiser way so that our handicapped services can upgrade their technologies at the same time. I'd ask for your aye vote.
Senator Aguilar.
Thank you, members. We heard this in the Health Committee, and I want to thank Senator Lambert for his work on this to the point of getting a department to want to be part of it. And so hopefully this work will be able to help us identify solutions for other areas beyond El Paso and Teller County in the future. Thank you.
Senator Kaffalas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, colleagues. I, too, rise in support of Senate Bill 11. We had a good discussion in the Health and Human Services Committee, and I think anytime we can get the departments and the private sector collaborating and talking with one another and getting outside of their silos is a good thing. I encourage your support of this bill.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Lambert.
I renew my motion for aye vote on Senate Bill 11 as amended.
Colleagues, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 11. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 11 is passed. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
Senate will come to order. Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee has had two bills under consideration. Mr. Clerk, will you please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole Belize reported has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 60 is amended. Senate Bill 11 is amended, passed on second reading in order, engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 65 laid over until 2/3/17 and returning its place on the calendar.
Senator Hill.
Thanks, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Motion before us is the adoption of the report to the Committee of the Whole. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 60 is amended. Senate Bill 11 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 65 laid over until 2/3/17 and retaining its place on the calendar. Colleagues, just quickly, just to call attention, we do have a former senator in our midst. Senator Dave Schulteis is here with us. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the title to, if I can find it, House Joint Resolution 1004.
House Joint Resolution 1004 by Representatives Mitch Bush and Senator Baumgartner concerning funding for the prevention of aquatic nuisance species in Colorado.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Joint Resolution 1004 lay over until Wednesday, February 1st.
The motion is to lay over consideration of the resolution, House Joint Resolution 1004 till February 1st. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. That will be laid over until February 1st. Announcements. Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. Members, this week is Catholic Schools Week. It is celebrated around the country. In celebrating Catholic Schools Week, we have special guests who have joined us today in the chamber. Over to my left is Kevin Kiejewski, Superintendent of Schools of the Archdiocese of Denver. Students and staff from Matchbuff High School in Denver. Annette Jones, Director of Leadership Initiatives, National Catholic Education Association. And last but not least, Auxiliary Bishop Jorge Rodriguez of the Archdiocese of Denver. Please welcome to the chamber.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd also like to read a proclamation from the governor concerning Catholic Schools Week. Whereas Catholic schools in Colorado are recognized for their academic excellence and their ability to provide students with an exceptional scholastic experience, and whereas Catholic schools help enable students to receive a broad, value-added education emphasizing lifelong development of moral, intellectual, physical, and social values, and whereas Catholic schools produce students strongly dedicated to their values, faith, families, and communities by providing an intellectually stimulating environment that is also rich in spiritual character and moral development. And whereas Catholic schools educate a diverse group of students from all over regions of our state, and whereas approximately 17,000 students in Colorado are enrolled in Catholic schools, including nearly 30% from minority backgrounds and approximately 17% whom are non-Catholic, which underscores the diversity that Catholic schools bring to their students' education. Therefore, I, Governor John W. Hickenlooper, Governor of the State of Colorado, do hereby proclaim forever after the period between January 30th, 2017 and February 3rd, 2017 as Catholic Schools Week in Colorado. Thank you.
Senator Neville.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I also rise in support of this tribute. As a Catholic school kid, I'm not sure if it all took at all times, but between the nuns and the priests and the good brothers, Salesian brothers, and let's see, who else did we have in there? I think most of it took. So by the time I ended up going to public school, I think we had a good foundation, and we always find our way home. So, but again, I want to rise in support of this tribute because I think one of the things that people often miss is the opportunities that the Catholic parishes and the Catholic schools offer many students who possibly are from a socioeconomic background where they can't afford certain things, and or private school or whatever else, and the parishes have always been great about doing that. And they're very focused on, doesn't matter what your background is, what you look like, or whatever else, they take all, and that's very appreciative, and it's made a difference in my life, and I am very thankful for the work you do. So I rise in support of this tribute.
I believe the motion before the body is whether Catholic school training took for Senator Neville. Are there any no votes? Senator Kafalis, I believe you were next.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, I just would like to acknowledge there's a group of Colorado State University social work students here, graduate students, and if you would be kind enough to welcome them and give them a round of applause from CSU.
Senator Williams, I saw you down here somewhere. Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is some rare news from the Senate Business and Labor Committee, but tomorrow we're going to have a shorter day. We have 2 sunset reviews, but we are moving Senate Bill 45 back 1 week till February 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. Members, I just want to rise in support of the resolution for Catholic Schools Week. I went to a Catholic college in Shawnee, Oklahoma, with the Jesuits. And my son also attended Bishop Matchbuff, and he graduated from there, so go Buffs. It made a difference in his life, and the importance of Catholic schools and education is important to our family. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand in adjournment. We adjourn until 3:30 p.m. today.
Recess. Recess or adjournment, sir?
Sorry, Mr. President. We will come back later today and read some bills over the desk. You do not need to be here. I move that the Senate stand in recess until 3:30 p.m. today.
The motion is for the Senate to recess until 3:30 today. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The Senate will stand in recess.